I'll never forget the first time I checked my portfolio and thought, wait, this can't be right. The balance was climbing, the charts looked great, but the money actually landing in my account every quarter? Barely enough to cover my internet bill. It felt like I was winning on paper but losing in real life. And that's the trap so many of us fall into. We're told the S&P 500 is the safe answer. It's cheap, it's diversified, and it's what almost every expert points to. But if your goal is real income and long-term growth, the kind that changes your lifestyle and your options, the S&P alone can quietly hold you back. What if you didn't have to choose between growth and income? What if there were a simple two-fund strategy that's quietly beaten the S&P 500, not just in total returns but in cash flow for a decade straight? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I found it, how it works, and why this one shift could add $1 million or more to your future. Stick with me to the end, because the difference is bigger than most people realize. Let's be real. Why do we all start with the S&P 500? For years, I stuck with the S&P 500. I mean, why wouldn't I? It's the holy grail of passive investing, right? One low-cost ETF like Vanguard's VOO and boom. You've got instant exposure to 500 of the largest, most powerful companies in America. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia. It's all in there. The expense ratio, practically free. Historical performance, better than most professional money managers. And honestly, it felt like I was doing everything right. I'd look at the index, see it trending upward, and think, okay, I'm building wealth. But then came the gut punch. The income was almost non-existent. Sure, my account value was rising, but the dividend payouts were so tiny they felt like an afterthought. Just enough to cover a subscription or two. Definitely not enough to build freedom. That's when the real problem hit me. The S&P isn't bad, but it's incomplete. It gives you growth, but not meaningful income. And if you're planning for a future where your money works for you, not just grows in silence, you need more than just price appreciation. You need a portfolio that pays you back. Here's the moment everything changed for me. That realization sent me down a rabbit hole. I didn't want to give up the growth potential of tech stocks, but I was done waiting years for tiny dividend checks. I needed both. That's when I found something surprisingly simple but powerful. A 50-50 split between two ETFs that play completely different roles. On one side, I found VGT, Vanguard's Information Technology ETF. This thing is a growth machine. It's almost pure offense, packed with the companies shaping the future: Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia. When the market surges, VGT flies. It's aggressive, it's bold, and it's delivered huge returns over time. But here's the thing, tech can be a roller coaster, and I didn't want my entire portfolio riding that kind of volatility. So on the other side, I paired it with SCHD, Schwab's U.S. Dividend Equity ETF. This is defense, a lineup of consistent, cash-flowing businesses that have raised dividends for over a decade. It's built to be stable, reliable, and income-focused. The wild part? These two funds barely overlap. VGT thrives in high-growth bull markets, while SCHD holds strong when things get rough. One accelerates, the other stabilizes. On their own, they each have weaknesses. But together, they create a balanced engine of wealth, growth today and income tomorrow. Now let's talk about the engine that actually pushes your wealth forward. There's something undeniably thrilling about owning companies that are literally shaping the future. And that's exactly what VGT gives you. Vanguard's Information Technology ETF isn't just a tech fund. It's like holding a front-row ticket to the innovation economy. We're talking about Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, names that aren't just dominating markets, they're changing how we live, work, and connect. VGT is almost pure tech, about 99% exposure, and it's highly concentrated. The top 3 stocks make up nearly half the fund. That's not a bug, that's the feature. You get focused access to the biggest growth engines in the world without having to bet on individual stocks. And the performance? Over the past 10 years, VGT has delivered a total return of around 573%. In just the past 5 years, it's up about 120%. Even in the past year alone, it's clocked over 21%. That kind of compounding can transform a portfolio. But let's not sugarcoat it. This comes with risk. Tech is volatile. VGT's standard deviation sits around 18.68%, with swings as high as 28% during tough years. It's not the fund you lean on for safety, it's the acceleration pedal. When markets run, VGT runs faster. But when they fall, it takes the hardest hits. And that's exactly why it needs a counterpart. Something built not to fly, but to hold strong. And that's where SCHD enters the picture. But what about safety? This is the part most investors overlook. If VGT is the adrenaline rush, SCHD is the deep breath. Schwab's U.S. Dividend Equity ETF takes a completely different approach. Slow, steady, and surprisingly powerful. It's not about hype or headlines, it's about reliability. To even make it into SCHD, a company needs at least 10 years of uninterrupted dividend payments. That alone filters out the noise. But SCHD doesn't stop there. It screens for financial health too. Strong cash flow, solid return on equity, and consistent dividend growth. It's a rules-based fortress of quality. The result? A portfolio of about 100 companies that include names like PepsiCo, Chevron, AbbVie, Home Depot, and Cisco. No one stock dominates. No single sector takes over. It's a balance of defensive plays, income producers, and quiet performers. Now here's where SCHD really shines. Income. The current yield sits at about 3.67%, which is over 3 times what VGT pays. And those dividend checks aren't flat. They've been growing year after year. Over the past decade, SCHD has doubled or even tripled its payouts for long-term holders. That's income you can feel. In tough years like 2022, when VGT dropped almost 30%, SCHD held firm, down just 3%. That's not luck. That's the power of a carefully constructed income fund, doing exactly what it's designed to do. Protect your downside while paying you to wait. SCHD is the seatbelt, the cushion, the part of your portfolio that shows up when things go sideways. And when you blend that with VGT's explosive growth, you get a balance that most people completely overlook. All right, let's put this strategy to the test. Numbers don't lie. This is where it gets real. Let's say you had $10,000 sitting in your account 10 years ago. You split it evenly, $5,000 into VGT, $5,000 into SCHD. Then you added just $5 a day. Nothing dramatic, just the price of a cheap latte. What would that look like today? That simple 50-50 portfolio would now be worth about $215,741. Not bad, right? Now take the same setup and put it into a classic S&P 500 ETF like VOO. Same $10,000, same $5 a day, same hands-off strategy. That ends up around $172,663. Still solid, but here's the kicker. That's a $43,000 gap just from choosing a different split. Even more interesting, dividends. The 50-50 portfolio would be throwing off around $8,400 per year in tax-free dividends inside a Roth IRA. The S&P 500 portfolio? About $1,350. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between covering your Netflix subscription and covering your mortgage. Year by year, this combo doesn't just occasionally beat the S&P. It consistently stays ahead. Over the past 10 years, it outperformed the index in 8 out of 10 of them. It surged ahead when tech soared, held steady when markets dropped, and kept paying out income through it all. And that's the point. The S&P is fine if you're okay with waiting, if you're okay watching your balance grow in silence. But if you want freedom, income that actually means something, while you still have time to enjoy it, this strategy puts you in a different lane entirely. So why does this work so well? And why do most people miss it? Most people think they have to pick a side. You're either in the growth camp, riding the tech wave, or you're on team dividends, clipping coupons and playing defense. But that's a false choice. The real magic happens when you blend them intentionally, when you diversify not just by industry, but by strategy. VGT is your acceleration. It gets you ahead. SCHD is your cushion. It keeps you there. Together, they do what the S&P alone can't. Create a portfolio that grows and pays you back. And here's why most people miss it, because it feels too simple. Just 2 ETFs? That's it? But that simplicity is deceptive. This combo quietly covers the bases most portfolios leave wide open. Innovation, consistency, growth, income, resilience. What this really buys you is peace of mind. The confidence to stop checking your portfolio every week. The flexibility to pivot, to downshift your work hours, or even walk away early. Because when your investments are growing and paying you in real time, you're not just planning for freedom, you're living it. Let's fast forward and ask, here's what this really looks like 30 years later. Let's stretch this out. Same simple setup. You start with $10,000. Add just $5 a day. Reinvest dividends. And you do it all inside a Roth IRA, where every dollar grows tax-free and comes out tax-free. Here's what happens. After 1 year, you're sitting at $13,572. After 10 years, $89,131. After 20 years, $447,228. And after 30 years, your portfolio hits $2,151,741. But it's not just about the balance. It's about what that balance does. At year 30, this portfolio would be spinning off $8,428 a year in dividends. That's not theoretical. That's income, tax-free, that lands in your account. Now compare that to the same investment in the S&P 500. Same contributions, same hands-off approach. That ends at $1,726,663 with just $1,356 a year in dividends. Both are solid, but one of them puts you $500,000 ahead and pays you 6 times more income. It's the difference between saying, I hope I can retire someday and I'm planning my early exit. All from one shift, one decision, 2 exchange-traded funds. Here's the real reason this strategy changed everything for me. For years, I thought I was doing everything right. I had the S&P, I had the charts, I had the patience, but something always felt off. My balance was growing, but my life wasn't changing. This 50-50 strategy flipped that. It gave me a plan, not just to grow my money, but to use it, to see income landing consistently, to ride the highs, cushion the lows, and sleep better at night, knowing I wasn't missing out on either side of the market. If you've ever felt stuck, like you're investing but not moving, I've been there. And if you're ready to stop guessing and start building, this 50-50 portfolio could be your foundation. If you got value from this breakdown, give it a like, share it with someone who needs this clarity, and subscribe for more strategies that actually work.